Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. This is your Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea match preview. Yes, the big one. This is without a doubt the game that we've been looking forward to for quite a few weeks now. Even whilst Frank Lampard was still in charge, we were looking at this fixture going, oh my god, this is going to be mad. We are going to suffer against Spurs. It's going to be crazy. And then all of a sudden, things have changed 180, not just for us, but for Tottenham as well. All of a sudden, we find ourselves with a new manager, a new formation, a new system, players enjoying themselves. We're scoring goals again, we're defending well, whereas at Spurs, it's gone backwards. And it's weird because, you know, Jose's second season syndrome, you would know what happens. We definitely know what happens. In a Jose second season, you win everything. That's just what happens. Even Man United won trophies in their second season with Jose. But with Tottenham, you know, they might win the League Cup. They're in the final. I'll give them that. There's a chance that they'll win the League Cup. And if I'm honest, in the final, my money would be on a Mourinho to win it. But in terms of the Premier League season, yeah, they've dropped. They've dropped. They were there at the top and people were starting to talk about winning the title and all of that, much like we had that little period. But for them, you know, they've had it more substantial. Whereas now they've really dipped off. And defensively, they look all over the place. All over the place. You know, the defending against Liverpool was something. But that's Liverpool. And you have to look at that and go, okay, even though Liverpool are struggling, which now it looks like they might be fixing themselves bit by bit and they're starting to make the progress again. So don't write Liverpool off. But in that game against Liverpool, Tottenham were absolutely abysmal at the back. And then against Brighton, that was the shocker. They looked horrific defensively. It looked like there was no defence. You know, the same way that I was saying Chelsea had no midfield against like a Man City or against an Arsenal, the games that we lost, and I was like, where's our midfield? For Tottenham, where's their defence? Honestly, they had no defence, and it baffles me because Mourinho, no defence, that doesn't add up. You know, it's not how he functions. But this is where it gets tasty because you can't write them off, especially when it comes to one fixture and a big game. You know that Mourinho has it in the locker to get a result when he wants to, but if the players are playing exactly as the plan sets out to be, you know, if everyone is following the plan that Jose has, the blueprint, and they're doing it to a T, they can be very, very effective. But it looks like there's serious individual error, especially defensively for them, that might be able to help us. And Thomas Tuchel now, 2 games under his belt, a 0-0 against Wolves and a 2-0 against Burnley where we looked really good. Now against Tottenham, that's the big test. And that's going to tell us quite a bit as to where we are. Where are Chelsea Football Club at the moment? What level are we at, you know? Especially against a Tottenham that have been struggling. Are they going to sort themselves immediately? I don't think so. I think there will be areas to exploit in that Tottenham team, and it's down to us to find them. And with Thomas Tuchel and the progress that we've made, I'm a lot more confident now going into this fixture than I was a few weeks ago looking at this fixture. So I really think we will go and do the business tomorrow, but Thomas Tuchel, in the press conference, did confirm a couple of things with us. Firstly, he's a fan of spaghetti bolognese and he's a fan of gin and tonic. So he's not a vegan, so that rumour's out the window. I'm surprised because many people were calling Thomas Tuchel a hipster manager. Well, turns out he's not even vegan, so, you know, it is what it is. His press conference is so good, and he had it tough today because he was asked a lot of questions in regards to Tottenham. And he got to the point where he had to confront the journalist and go, are you sure you're at the right press conference? Because you're only speaking about Tottenham and you're not asking me anything about Chelsea. But after that, he did explain quite a few things about where we are at the moment, about certain individuals like a Mason Mount, our academy, and the fact that he's already looked in at an under-18s match from the academy. He's already watched a game from that team, and honestly, that's really, really good to hear. His first few days in the job, and boom, he's already keeping eyes on the academy. I think that's the quickest any manager has done it. If I'm looking back to previous managers like a Mauricio Sarri or any managers that you know might have a chance of looking at the academy, I think no one's looked at the academy that fast. So fair play to Thomas Tuchel. He's doing exactly as he preaches. Honestly, his actions are backing up his words, and it's really, really good to see. But in terms of this fixture against Tottenham, this is going to be very interesting into how he sets us up. is it going to be the same? Now, if you ask me, I think we're going to see something very similar as we saw against Burnley. Even in terms of the lineup, and I've got it in front of me here, but I think because of the way Tottenham are going to set up, I think you're looking at the same sort of method that Burnley tried to use against us. However, Tottenham have better individuals to get that job done. So this is where we have to be a little bit more cautious and we have to be a little bit more alert, because I feel like Tottenham, for example, are much more able to hit us on the counter-attack and be a lot more effective on the counter-attack than Burnley were. So this is where we need to make sure we do what we done against Burnley, but at a higher level. And no space whatsoever in the midfield. Hopefully exploit the dangers that they have in their defence, and hopefully they haven't sorted that out, because if they haven't, fantastic. But that's what's in my head. When you look at Jose Mourinho, he's not exactly going to come out with this Tottenham team and go all guns blazing. He's just not going to do that. We know he's not going to do that. Everyone knows he's not going to do that. And with a Tottenham team that have lost the last couple of games, they're struggling in confidence. So there is a chance to go all out at them early, get a goal and hopefully disrupt their balance completely, especially them playing at home. If we get the first goal, I think they will sink mentally. We can really damage their confidence even further, and at that point I think they're going to be all over the place, even to a point where Mourinho won't be able to save them, because the same mistakes they made against Liverpool, the same mistakes they made against Brighton, I hope are going to be the same mistakes they make against us. But right now we are playing a type and style of football with players that I didn't think were able to play this type of football this quickly, that can really damage Tottenham. Move the ball quickly, get into those spaces. It's key against a Tottenham team right now that we know are having defensive issues, that we move the ball fast and we get into positions quickly. You can't remain static. As long as we keep them running about, because they're finding it hard to keep up with the speed and tempo of the game that we're playing at, that would mean the entire game is in our favour. And if we can get the whole game under control, that would be absolutely fantastic. So if we go into the starting 11, there is a bit of team news. Kurt Zouma and Kai Havertz have picked up a couple of knocks, and that was in training. They're being looked at and they're having scans, so we'll see if they're going to be available. Personally, I have a feeling, gut feeling, instinct, that they're not going to be available for tomorrow's game. So I'm taking that into context when talking about the starting 11. Let's get into what I think Thomas Tuchel is going to put out. So a formation of a 3-4-2-1, not a 1-2. I don't think we're going to be seeing two strikers up top, and I only say this because of the personnel that we have available to us. I will come to that when we get to the upper end of the pitch, but to start off, Edouard Mendy in goal, no two ways about that. The back three, I think, remains the same, except for the fact that maybe some people would have considered Zouma coming to this game. He's one of the ones that have picked up a knock, so I don't think he's going to be available. So putting that into context, keep the same back three: Azpilicueta, Silva, and Rudiger. Those three, despite their ages, have been great. Fantastic so far. In terms of the Wolves game and in terms of the Burnley game specifically, Azpilicueta getting on the score sheet, that was absolutely fantastic. So for me, they remain exactly the same. If we go into midfield, let's start off at left wing back. This is, for the first time on Younes Talks Football, I am mentioning his name in the starting 11 that I'm predicting before a game. Marcos Alonso, welcome to the party. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Marcos Alonso at left wing back, and you have to give him the credit for the way that he played against Burnley. Scored a fantastic goal, was really in his element and looked comfortable, very relaxed as a left wing back, because that is his true position and he's flipping good at it. So for me, in this game, considering that we are going to be setting up the same, just because the opposition in Tottenham are going to play in a similar fashion that Burnley and Wolves did, so which means I don't think we're going to change anything because it worked for us. I think Marcos Alonso at left wing back. If we shift over to right wing back, your boy Callum Hudson-Odoi starts again, man of the match, 2 matches in a row, and he's absolutely killing it under Thomas Tuchel at the moment. So for me, Callum Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. The 2 central midfielders in a pivot is where it's going to get very interesting, because N'Golo Kante is back. He is ready and he's fit. There's been no questions as to maybe why he can't play. He was on the bench for the previous game, didn't feature, and now I know he's fully available, surely. But Jorginho and Kovacic looked fantastic. They looked great. So this is where I have a problem, because I think, do we keep those same 2 where offensively I know we have, I think, more to offer with those 2, Or do we opt for a more slightly defensive setup and N'Golo Kante being the guy to intercept and win the ball back much more frequently than the others can, because it's Tottenham and because they have a Højbjerg, because they have a Dombele, because they have midfielders there that we have to take seriously? I don't know. It's a tough one, but just because of the opposition and the intensity that I hope N'Golo Kante is going to bring, I am opting more to N'Golo Kante than I am to Jorginho. Now, this isn't to say Jorginho shouldn't play whatsoever, because if he starts, I'm cool with that. If he plays the same he did against Burnley and against Wolves, specifically Burnley, he is in the starting 11. No questions about it. Fine. But for me, I would go with Kante and Kovacic. Kovacic has been fantastic. The last 2 games he's been immense, especially the Burnley game. He looked like a maestro. So I'm hoping he carries that forward. And there's no reason why to take him out. Kante Jorginho for me doesn't offer enough balance. But Kovacic Kante or Kovacic Jorginho does. Now Kante, I just feel will be able to sweep up better against midfielders like Højbjerg, Dombele, that you have to take more seriously, that will be tougher to try and win the ball from. And we know N'Golo Kante is a little machine. So that's where I would choose Kante. But if Tuchel goes with Jorginho, I'm cool with it. I'm totally cool, because if he plays the same that he did against Burnley and has that relationship going with Mateo Kovacic, fantastic. Who am I to stop it? Who am I to stop it? So for me, Kante Kovacic, but if Jorginho plays, no problem at all. 2 players in front in a 3-4-2 has to be Mason Mount. Kai Havertz is one of the players that we've already mentioned had a knock in training, so it's not so sure if he's going to make the squad. Now, me taking that into consideration, I would play Mason Mount, who has been looking absolutely immense. Let's have it right. He's been fantastic, especially that Burnley game. He was everywhere. I said it in my review. He was everywhere. He was doing everything. All the dirty work and all the clean work as well. Some of the passes, some of the through balls. He had shots on goal. A few of them went into Rose, so if he can just keep his shots low, that would be great. But honestly, Mason Mount, with his attitude and his intensity and everything that he's been showing, as well as his work on and off the ball, has been fantastic. So Mason Mount starts, and alongside him, the return of Hakim Ziyech, which is why I'm going with a 3-4-2-1 and not a 3-4-1-2 with 2 strikers up top, because Ziyech can come in to fill in for Kai Havertz. Because for me, I would have chosen Kai Havertz to play alongside Mason Mount. But with Ziyech, I think there's a side to him that will help us offensively. He brings a lot of technicality and a lot of creativity. I feel like with a Tottenham defence that right now are looking very, very susceptible to crumbling and very, very susceptible to falling apart, I think Ziyech can make that happen. Let's have it right. Whether he pings a fantastic ball into the box, whether he has a license to dribble and go down the middle and take players on, he will get past. He has a killer left foot. He can take a shot from distance. We have a player that is able to exploit Tottenham's fragile defence. Yeah, I think that is going to be key. So Mason Mount alongside Ziyech, who can also supply a Timo Werner up front, that I think is going to be the man that starts up top for us. And hopefully, as I've said, with a Tottenham defence that looks completely out of sorts, Werner might score. Fingers crossed, you heard it here first. Werner to get on the score sheet. I pray that happens. Timo, please score against Spurs. You'd become a Chelsea legend overnight. Going from absolutely struggling to, oh my God, he scored against Tottenham. So I think that would be a dynamic that would help us get through that Tottenham defence and create a lot of chances and hopefully get on the score sheet. So this is where you ask, what's the prediction, Younes? I'm feeling a lot more confident now than I was a few weeks ago. Let's have it right. With the Tottenham game now, I am very confident. Going into this now, I am going to say, especially at Tottenham's ground, I'm going to keep it not too high scoring, but I think it's going to be comfortable. I'm going with a Tottenham 1, Chelsea 2 as a final score, simply because I think Tottenham have the capabilities to exploit us defensively, and I think we will concede. I'd like to think we won't, but I've got a feeling that Tottenham are going to come with an extra sense of having to get something out of this game. You know, it's Tottenham-Chelsea, it's a derby, and it means more than a normal game. So I think Tottenham are going to be up for it, which is why I think they'll get on the score sheet. But I think we're going to be too quick for them, and I think we're going to have complete control of the game from the beginning until the end. Hopefully so. And if we do, honestly, it's up to the speed and tempo that we're playing at. If we can move the ball quickly, get into positions quickly, and keep moving for each other, I don't think Tottenham's defence are going to cope. That's just how I see it. And hopefully, as I've said, they defend in the same way they have for the past couple of games, because if they do, we've got a big opportunity to get 3 points. And honestly, we get 3 points, top 4 is seriously back on. Seriously back on. Because at that point, we go above Tottenham. Even if they win their game in hand, they don't go above us. So it would be a very, very good incentive for us to get 3 points. Hopefully, we get the job done. Fingers crossed. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. What would be your lineups and what would be your score predictions? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit that notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Be sure to remember the Tottenham game kicks off at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening UK time. So I will be doing a watch along. Make sure you have your eyes peeled for that one. And immediately after the watch along, I will give you my match review, as I always do. But it's going to be interesting. It's our first big game under Thomas Tuchel. And what a hell of a game it's going to be. Tottenham versus Chelsea. If Tuchel wins this, as I've said, you're immediately a cult hero at Chelsea. That's just how it is. So it's a big game with a big incentive. Let's go and get 3 points. We can do it. Let's go and get it. And hopefully we get the job done. Thank you all so much for watching. Look after yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care and peace.